Hello everyone, my name is Paige and today I'm going to be doing a little bit of a different video. So obviously, as you know, if you subscribe to me, which you totally should, you know that I normally do bookish videos and that's really it. So this video is going to be about traveling, and more specifically traveling to London. I had mentioned in my last video that I kind of wanted to do something that was about like my favorite places to visit in London, or places that you should go if you're really interested in history or if you want to learn more about London and its past. So this is just going to be a list of different things and places that you can go see if you ever are going to visit London, which you totally should because I freaking love this city. Alright, so there are quite a few, so let's just jump into this. The way I'm going to break this down is by listing the place, showing a couple pictures while I'm talking, and then I'm going to say the different highlights that you should either check out or do while you're at each location. And then I'll give you a couple tips and tricks too. I definitely recommend for all these places that you buy your tickets beforehand. So if you're a student, if you're over 60, anything like that, usually you can buy the concession ticket, so that means you get a little bit more of a discount than just a regular adult ticket. Obviously children get discounts as well, but definitely buy your tickets ahead of time because you can save like £2 or £3 each place, and it might not sound like a lot, but honestly it adds up because some of these places get kind of expensive. The first place I usually recommend people to go is Tower of London. Tower of London is on the eastern side of London. I'll probably put like a map here that you can look at. So it's usually like the furthest thing that I go to. I live on the west side of London, so they're kind of like opposite of each other. I love the Tower of London. There's so much stuff that you can do there. You should definitely at least allow 2 hours, if not more, if you want to read like every single plaque and thing that they have there. Also, depending on what time of year you go, you're going to need more time because there's going to be longer lines. I recommend going in the springtime because usually there's not that many people, or if you go the week before Christmas, because me and my boyfriend did, and all of these places that I'm going to mention were just dead. There was like nobody there. But the first time I went to Tower of London, I went in the springtime, and it was beautiful. The weather was great. It wasn't too cold or anything. So for Tower of London, there are two highlights that I want to talk about. The first being the Beef Eater tours. These are the guys that walk around in the red suits. I'll probably put a picture like right here. They guard the Tower of London, so they actually do work there. They live there with their families. They take care of the tower basically. And they give 1 hour tours. They're really sassy, as I mentioned in my last video. They also tell you a lot of history about the Tower of London, like people who have been imprisoned there, people who have been beheaded there, because a lot of people were beheaded there. Just like the history of like how the Tower of London kind of came to be and the changes that it's seen over time. So it's very, very interesting. What I like to do is do that tour first and then go explore the rest of the tower, because you get kind of an overview of everything about the tower. And then while you're wandering around, you kind of get like more specifics about different places within the tower. The second highlight that I definitely recommend that you go see is the Crown Jewels. Tower of London is where all the crown jewels are held, so this is like the crowns for all the monarchs, the scepters that they use in Parliament, all that kind of stuff. You can't take pictures in there, so I don't have any pictures to show, but this stuff's beautiful and it's all like glittery and gold and diamonds, and you can see the coronation spoon that they use at all the coronation ceremonies, and it's like just really, really amazing and glittery, beautiful stuff. Moving on from Tower of London, the next best place that I recommend you go to is Hampton Court Palace. So Hampton Court Palace isn't actually in the city of London. You have to go like a half hour outside of London to Hampton. It's just one of the most amazing palaces, I think. There's a lot of history there. You can learn a lot about different monarchs that have lived there. So for example, Henry VIII, William III, Mary II, they all lived there. And again, there are two highlights for this location that I definitely recommend you check out. The first being the audio tour. It's really amazing. There's a really fun family audio tour that you can listen to if you just want more of a brief history and you don't want to listen to all the like, in this room so-and-so was born, you know, stuff like that. And there's also a dramatized version of one section of the palace that's really interesting. My sister did it, and then I did it when I went with some friends a while ago, and it was like, ooh, you are a guest at court, and like they're whispering secrets to you. It's just really fun. The palace itself is also beautiful. I really love the city as well. It's just really interesting to go look around in. The second highlight is the William III and Mary II video informational thing. There's this one corner that's kind of tucked away in the palace that has this video that's all about William III and Mary II, and they kind of talk about Queen Anne as well, and they just talk about how Hampton Court Palace, how they built it and how they remodeled it over the years, and it's just very interesting to see the way that the palace had changed while they were both ruling, and then just more information about them as well. Again, I would recommend going in the springtime for this because it was really, really cold when I went in the winter time, because again, it's like right by the river, so if you're gonna go there, dress warmly. The next palace I'm gonna be talking about is Kensington Palace. I have one highlight for this one because I personally think if you're gonna choose between Hampton Court Palace and Kensington Palace, you should definitely go to Hampton because it's much bigger and you can see more stuff there. And honestly, whatever you see at Hampton, you can basically see at Kensington. However, I do think if you're really interested in Queen Victoria and that kind of era of history, then you should definitely go to Kensington. So this is my highlight of Kensington, basically. You can go in the room where Queen Victoria was born, you can see where she held her first Privy Council meeting, all this different stuff about Queen Victoria, and they're also gonna have a special exhibit coming up soon, I think in April. My mom and I are gonna go to it, so I'll see how that is. There's tons of information about Queen Victoria. There's also a Diana, Princess of Wales fashion exhibit that's usually there, so that's also really interesting to look at and see her clothes like up close and personal. But personally, I feel like if you're gonna spend the money, go to Hampton, not Kensington. The next palace we're gonna be talking about is of course Buckingham Palace. So Buckingham Palace is like the thing to do, I guess, if you go to London because it's Buckingham Palace. Like, how can you not go there? You should go, obviously, when it's open because it's not open every single day of the year because the Queen, like, needs somewhere to live. So when it is open, I definitely recommend going, listening to the audio tour, and just kind of exploring through all the different, like, state rooms and everything. And that's actually my one highlight of Buckingham Palace is the state dining rooms. They're just so beautiful and just so grand and amazing, and oh, it's totally worth paying the amount of money you have to pay to go into Buckingham Palace to just go look at all that stuff. And it's one of those things too where it's like, when else are you ever gonna go inside Buckingham Palace? So definitely take advantage of it if they're open when you go. Okay, I know we're going through a lot of palaces, so there's only one left, and that's Windsor Castle. I only have one highlight for this one, and that's the entire freaking thing. It's so beautiful and amazing. Again, if you have to choose between Windsor or Buckingham Palace, I would actually choose Windsor because I think it's bigger, you can see more stuff. It's really just grand. It's really nice if you go during the holidays as well because they all decorate it for Christmas and everything. They have these huge Christmas trees. It's just beautiful. You can learn so much history there. There's a really great audio tour. When I went, I could go see Meghan Markle's wedding dress, which was really cool, but now they don't have it there anymore. Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff to see. It's interesting to go inside of a working palace versus one that's not, like Hampton, that's more of a historical site, just to see the differences and like how they've changed, I guess, over time. Also, tip for Windsor Castle. Again, Windsor is not inside the city of London, it's out in Windsor. One of the best places that I've ever eaten in England was at this little cafe outside Windsor Castle, so definitely go check out some of the cafes that are outside of the castle because they have really great food and really great tea, and it's just nice to kind of sit there and people watch after your tour. Okay, now I'm going to be kind of talking about museums. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the V&A, or the Victoria and Albert Museum. The V&A is my absolute favorite museum of London. Like, there's just so much there. There's literally something for everybody. I have one highlight for this, and that is the special exhibits that you can book separately to go see at the V&A. So for example, I went to go see the Pink Floyd exhibit like 5 times when I came to visit London while it was on. It was amazing. They have a Dior exhibit going on right now that's also really amazing. I've seen some other ones that aren't as good, but most of the ones that you have to book separately are just really, really phenomenal. But there's also free stuff that you can see too, everything from religious artifacts to medieval period to Japanese art in the Middle East. There's just tons of stuff there. Also be sure to check out the tapestry room, which most people miss. It's upstairs and it's near all the costumes that you can also go see from like Broadway shows and stuff like that. So just a really nice room to go in and kind of de-stress for a little bit because it's kind of dark and cool in there, and you just look at the tapestries and you're like, wow, these are beautiful. So definitely check that out as well. The next museum I'm going to talk about is one that I actually really don't like, and that's the British Museum. Personally, I just don't like it. I don't know why. There's only one highlight of this, and that's the Rosetta Stone, which is really cool to go see, but other than that, just meh. It's just a museum. The entrance is also really cool, so if you want to look at that, that's cool too. I have pictures probably somewhere here. British Museum is also free, so that's, I guess, a highlight for some people, but it also means that it gets kind of crowded there. I personally think the V&A is more comprehensive and has more information, whereas the British Museum is just kind of like, here are some artifacts, enjoy. The next museum I'm going to talk about is the Tate Modern. There are a couple different Tate museums around London. There's Tate Britain, Tate Modern, and I think there's one more, but I can't remember the name of it. Probably has Tate in it. I don't know if there is a third one. I don't know. I don't remember. So what I love most about Tate Modern is, this is actually the one highlight that I have for Tate Modern, is the observation deck at the very top of the museum. So you can go up and see this like basically 360-degree view of London. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Go up there when the sun's going down because it's just, oh, you get stunning views. You got like St. Paul's right in front of you. You got the Shard over on the side. It's just wonderful. I love it. Other than that, it's a modern art museum, so unless you're into modern art, you're gonna go in there and be like, what the hell is all of this stuff? Which is something I do a lot when I bring people. It's also a great place to get free views of the city. It's a free museum, so when you go up to the observation deck, it doesn't cost anything. Unlike if you were to go someplace like the London Eye or the Shard where you have to pay, but this is free, so, and then you get the Shard and the London Eye, not really the London Eye in your picture because it's kind of far away, but you get that in your photos as well. All right, so the next place I'm gonna talk about is the Sky Garden. I love the Sky Garden, it's really beautiful. Sometimes it's really busy, so you have to book your tickets in advance, but they're free. Just book up to 2 weeks in advance and you can go up to the very top. Up there they have a bar, they have a restaurant. I think they're both really expensive. I've never eaten there. But you can go and literally have a 360-degree view of the city as well. You get the London Eye in your picture, you get Palace of Westminster, you get St. Paul's, you get Tower of London. I mean, you get everything in your picture, so it's wonderful. And it's free, like I said. So the last two places I'm gonna be talking about are both churches. London has tons of churches and cathedrals and abbeys, and it's just really, really cool, actually. They're all very beautiful. So the first place that I recommend going is St. Paul's Cathedral. There are two highlights for this one, the first being the audio tour. Again, there's a family audio tour, there's like a short audio tour, and then there's the long, lengthy one that lasts about an hour. Definitely do that one. It's really, really interesting to learn about the cathedral and how it's changed over time. It's also just stunning and beautiful, and actually if you count your ticket as a donation to the cathedral, you can come in for the rest of the year for free. You can also do that at Windsor and Buckingham Palace. Also with St. Paul's, there's an excellent view of the city if you climb all the way to the very top. There's 3 different levels, so you can go up to the Whispering Gallery, which is still within the cathedral itself, so it's just in the dome part. And then if you go up to the next level, you get an outside view of the city that's a little bit higher up than like Sky Garden or something. And then if you go up to the very next level, which I've done and is very exhausting, and I would recommend not doing that on a hot day because you're just gonna be sweating the entire time. Go on a day when it's windy, because then you're like, you get to the top and you're like, but you get this like natural fan in your face, so it's excellent. Beautiful views of the city. Try not to go on a day when it's cloudy like I did, because then some of your pictures aren't gonna turn out as wonderful, but included, I guess, with your ticket, so might as well go up there if you can. And then the last place that I recommend going is Westminster Abbey. I love Westminster Abbey. It's more of a mausoleum than a cathedral, I think, because when you go in, you'd learn more about the people who are buried there, memorialized there, than really like the church itself. But again, the number one highlight of this is the audio tour. If you don't take the audio tour, it's kind of boring because you don't really know what you're looking at, so I definitely recommend it. It's only an hour and you can kind of self-pace yourself, so if there are some things you don't want to learn about, just skip it and move on. There are tons of monarchs that are buried there: Elizabeth I, Mary I, Mary Queen of Scots, some of the Tudors, William III, Mary II, Queen Anne, tons of people, so you can go see all of their graves and stuff like that, and it's just a really interesting place to go and see all this different architecture and everything, and it's just beautiful. Again, you can't take pictures inside, so I don't have any pictures inside the cathedral, but here are probably some pictures of outside. Also, the second highlight of Westminster Abbey is seeing the coronation chair. So the coronation chair is the chair they've used. I think I saw the sign this week. It said like, since 1296 they've used it for every single monarch, which is like literally almost every single monarch, because I think William I was the first English monarch and he became king in 1066. So yes. Anyway, when you see the chair though, you're gonna be probably surprised because it looks kind of worn down. There's like graffiti on it and it's this wooden, uncomfortable looking chair, but it's just really cool to see because you're like, wow, a lot of like royal tushies have sat there, so it's just really cool. So those are my best places that you should visit in London. Obviously, there are a lot of other places that you can go see depending on how much time you have while you're in the city. But these are my personal favorites and places that I go to again and again and again because I usually have like my membership card or something with me, which if you're going to be staying in London for any considerable time, I definitely recommend getting a Historical Royal Palace's membership card, which costs a little bit of money, but totally worth it. A V&A membership card, because then you can go see all the special exhibits for free, which is also totally worth the money. If you're gonna live in the city of Westminster, you can apply for a Westminster City Save card, which gets you into Westminster Abbey for free. So there's all these different options too if you're gonna be staying here for quite a long time. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. If there's anything else you wanna know about London, let me know and I can make another video. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. That was weird. Bye-bye. Let me just get my map ready.